Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yuval Ron, I'm so pleased to have you back.
Thank you.
Award-winning composer, touring and recording artist, educator, peace activist, and record producer. Among his many honors, he composed the songs and score for the Oscar-winning film West Bank Story in 2007, received commissions for site-specific scores from the Getty Center, Fowler Museum, and UCLA, Japan American Center, artists Lauren Bond and Farmlad, choreographers. Let's see, I'll kind of go down here. A 1990 commission from researcher Robert Monroe of the Monroe Institute with a Hemi Sync music composition. I love that myself. He's collaborated with neuroscientists. I'm kind of going through his description here. He was invited to perform meditative music for the Dalai Lama, the Sufi Sheikh Sidi Muhammad, collaborated with Sufi leaders Pirzia, Inayat Khan, and numerous master musicians. He's lectured at America's top school, including Yale, Johns Hopkins University, University of Chicago, and UCLA, to name a few. Faculty member at Esalen, Shift Network, University of Sufism, and 1440 Multiversity. He has many prestigious awards, and I'm just thrilled you're back with us.
Thank you.
Happy you're with us. Thank you.
Could I say something? I'm sorry I'm a tiny bit late, but I would like to add just a few personal words, if that's appropriate. May I?
Okay.
So Yuval's going to speak about a foundation that he created today. And what I think is especially significant about his work with children is that he has understood that the legacy of his work as a musician will be reflected most deeply in what he can do for children in our society and for the artists, many unsung artists, many talented people who haven't had the opportunity to work fully because artists are not always respected the same way corporate leaders are. And so when he founded this organization, he asked me to be part of it. And I said, absolutely not. And then, of course, I've been on the board for the last 3 years because the work he's doing in serving underserved communities and children and creating a win-win-win situation, which he'll tell you more about how he does that. But I think is very significant, and his long-term contribution in this world will be judged not just by the amazing music that he composed, but by his desire to bring society into a new understanding of how important music is and how much of a responsibility we each have to make sure that the world does become a better place. So he is a role model for me in that. And that's why I brought him to Mastery Circle, because I knew you would all appreciate that, because each of you are doing that yourselves in your own way. So, Yuval.
Thank you. Thank you, Ruth. Great to be with you again. I love your circle and your energies, and I feel this is home. You know, I feel very much at home, and I appreciate the introductions and the note of Ruth. And I'd like to start with sharing with you 3 short videos that really tells the story of the foundation, the nonprofit organization that I started in 2016 called Inspired Sound Initiative. And let me share the first video. The first video, let me see, layout and options. I wanted to share sound and optimize for a video clip. Very good. Okay, share. So let me know if you don't hear the sound and if you don't see the video. So right now on the screen, it says Inspired Sound Initiative. and I hope you sing it. And here we go. Inspired Sound Initiative is a culmination of almost 20 years of promoting peace around the world using music and dance and storytelling. And now we're taking this work to schools and communities that are underserved. This work comes from a deep recognition and a deep vision that we all need to do something to help the people who are less fortunate than us. We have to do it. There's rising of hate, there's more war, there's more violence. And I believe that a lot of that comes from ignorance. And so the work that we do counteract this ignorance. We bring information, we bring knowledge, we bring hope, and we bring inspiration to people that have no access to art and education on the level that we provide. The children in this time need artists and role models to come to their neighborhoods, to come to their schools and tell them that there is a way to achieve success, to rise up and to strive to something positive, to reach for the higher virtues. The public schools, the communities in housing projects have no budgets. They have no way to bring the kind of education and art that we bring to them free of charge. That is what's unique about Inspired Sound. We all need to help and give a hand to bring this hope and inspiration to the communities that are not funded, that are not receiving arts and education. Come and join us. Be part of making the world a better place. Okay, so this is the first video, and now I'd like to show you the work that we do in the schools. So I have a clip that show our artists actually working in the school. So here is this clip.
What was the most important lesson from today's presentation?
The story gave me more compassion.
How did you feel during the presentation today?
Happy and excited. I feel like joyful, happy, and I felt like I was in like a huge like place.
Okay, so stop sharing. Okay, so what you saw in this little clip with the children, you saw how just a little, this is just a few seconds from the presentations that we do in schools and how we teach compassion. And one of the girls on stage, when she was asked, what was your favorite moment in the whole show? And she said, the story of compassion. That was her favorite moment. So we teach compassion through storytelling, through movement. We have a dancer who teach them how to dance with making a big embrace and embracing themselves and embracing their friends and the whole world. So they do movement. They sing mantras of compassions. They learn about joy, about hope, and all through music, dance, and storytelling. And that is the kind of work that we bring to schools in neighborhoods where there is real issues with youth at risks. It's really incredible to be with the children and to see the children immediately open up, immediately react to the music, and immediately react to the stories. It's not always easy to get them to dance. It's easier to get them to sing. But we have master musicians and dancers from all cultures, from India, from Africa, from the Middle East, from Asia, from Europe. We have blues singers. We have country Mexican music, Brazilian music, music and dance from all over the world. And we bring these master musicians and dancers to teach in the schools, but everything has to be done through our concept of inspiring and empowering. It's not just cultural diversity. You see, other artists that go to the school, it's all about cultural diversity, which we do, but we don't stop at cultural diversity. We are choosing the material that we teach that it would inspire and empower the children. It's not just about teaching them that there's another culture and here's the beautiful cultural treasures of another culture. And that is important. We teach them history, geography. We teach them about role models like Gandhi, like Buddha, like Martin Luther King, through stories and music and dance. So that is the kind of work that we do with children. And I'd like to show you one last video, and then we can have questions and answers. And also I can tell you a little bit about how we get people to be involved in this work. Let me share one more video. And this is about another front, along with going to schools and community centers and boys' home and places where boys are being sent to a closed school. It's a boarding school, and they have to be there by court order. It's like a little prison, but they study there, and that is their last chance. If they fail that program, they end up in real jail. So this is the last chance for these boys. And a lot of them, they don't want to be there. And it's so sad for me to hear that, when I come there and there's one boy that sits in the circle, and we do drum circle with the boys, and all the boys are drumming, and they get all their energy, they get everything out through the drum. And one kid sits there and he refused to drum. He refused to drum. He just sits there, and no matter what the teachers that we bring do, this kid would not participate. And when we went around the circle, I asked this kid, how did it feel when he heard all the drumming? And he looked at me and he said, I want to go home. I want to go home. That's all he said. And I was glad that at least he expressed that in the circle. But it's incredible, the suffering that these boys are going through. And they are victims of their upbringing and their environment and their families and everything that they went through growing up. And then they victimize other people. They get involved in drugs and in crime, and that's why they end up in that boys' center where we work. And 99% of the boys are really deeply affected by the work that we do and participate. And we have incredible testimonials from the teachers and the director of that center. So that's one front that we work in. And another front is we do free of charge festivals, concert series open for the public in underserved neighborhoods. So we go to a place that the city called District 9. This is South Central Los Angeles. This is where the riots, the Rodney King riots, started in '94. It's a cultural and food desert. And we go there to a center called Mercado La Paloma, which is a food court. It's a very good food court. It's one of the points of lights in that area. And we take over the parking lot. And we have a stage that they construct for us in the parking lot. And we have concerts, educational concerts, outdoor in the parking lot for anybody. There are homeless people who walk in the street that drift in because of the music. There are people coming from the food court. There are people from all over the city who come there. And it's a beautiful mix of cultures and people that otherwise wouldn't even sit together. But we bring them together to educate and to create community. So I'd like to show you a short video of that concert series that we do. Now it's been 4 years every summer. This summer we did it for the 4th year. And next summer we're planning to do the 5th year of this concert series that starts in May and goes until July, every other Sunday at 5 p.m. So let me share one more video and then we could do Q&A. Okay, so here we go.
What did you think of the concert?
Great.
It was great. What did you like the best?
I like the drums and where they came from and how they came from trees.
This music made me feel just like alive and good to be alive again, especially in communities like this. It just brings everyone together.
Happiness and joy and just being around people with good energy.
Why is it important to present this free of charge?
Free of charge is very important, especially in communities, underserved communities like this one.
It's great for the youth to this country and to this city.
How did the music make you feel?
Deep emotion and happiness too. I think I feel community by being with other people.
It's a wonderful setting for very interesting music.
Music is a bridge to peace, and being exposed to the beautiful parts of other cultures can affect us.
I think especially summer coming in LA, music and free concerts are a big part of that.
Because so many people wouldn't probably have a chance to experience something like this. The invitation to dance and clap and sing is something that connects all of us.
It brought me into my body. It felt so good.
Everybody's transported somewhere else, and we all become family, and that's what I love the most about it.
Having it accessible in a place like this, where it's open to the public and free of charge, it's so inclusive and allows for anyone to be able to come take part because we're all connected.
Okay. All right. So let me tell you, now that you got a little taste of what my charity organization, Inspired Sound Initiative, does, I'd like to tell you in few words what we are looking for and what we are hoping to bring in. We need help with grant writing. We're looking for people who can write, who are good writers, not necessarily people who have experience with grant writing, because we can teach them how to do it. It's not that difficult, but if anybody has a skill to just write a good email or to write a good letter, we could use your help in working on grants, because we depend on grants and on donations. So we raise the money from people that have, and we gift the music and dance and education to people who do not have. That's the model of Inspired Sound. So we constantly need to raise funds, grants, donations, and the other thing that we have is called auctions, charity auctions. So the way charity auction works, it's really win-win-win situation. So we have a way to put for auction any service or any item or anything, any consultation or a meeting with anybody. It can be an object like memorabilia that somebody donates to us, a T-shirt that an LA Lakers signed, or somebody donate a painting of a famous painter, or some kind of an item that is worth something to somebody. And we put it to auction, and then the money is being raised for that. But the real win-win-win situation is when somebody donates a service, like a consultation. For example, we have lawyers and doctors and corporate leaders and astronomers, astrologists. It can be anything. Anything that somebody knows something about can be turned into a consultation. And the way it works, let's say somebody knows about nonprofit organizations. Let's say somebody worked with interfaith organizations for a long time, or somebody worked in economical organizations like an economist. We put their name and their website for auction for 60 minutes consultation on Zoom. And then somebody that looks through the listing on the auction is interested to get their son or daughter, who goes to college now, to meet with that person in order to help them find a way in that world of economy or sports or music or business or whatever it is. And then sometimes the person that buys that item wants to meet with the person who offers the consultation. And the situation is that the person who paid to meet with the person who gave the donation of 60 minutes of their time, the reason that somebody spend the money to have that meeting is because they are interested in the field of that person. And so very often, the person who buys the item and wants to have the consultation end up being a supporter or a fan or a customer or a partner or a collaborator with the person who gave the 60 minutes of their time. And the money that comes out of this donation goes to fund the work that we do with children and with underserved communities. So that it's really a win-win-win. Everybody win. All three parties win something. Nobody is losing anything. So there are people out there that are willing to pay hundreds of dollars and thousands of dollars just to meet with somebody who knows something about their field. If there is somebody who worked in USC or in UCLA for 30 years, they just worked in UCLA. There is somebody who's going to pay to meet with them for 60 minutes just to ask them, how did you get to be assistant dean of students of UCLA? How did you get there? And the reason why they want to know is because they may have a son or a daughter who wants one day to get to be an assistant dean of students in UCLA. And it's the same with anything, any field. There's somebody who's interested in that field, no matter how obscure that field is. Of course, the arts and sports, how to get to be a writer in Hollywood, that's something that a lot of people are willing to pay a lot of money for. How to get to be a makeup artist in Hollywood, a lot of people around the world, and it's international. There may be somebody from France who's going to buy that item to meet with somebody who was a makeup artist in Hollywood. They just want 60 minutes of their time. So we sell those items through a special organization that deals with nonprofit organization, and we raise money. So if you wish to donate an item like this, if you want to donate 60 minutes of your time, you could send an email to me or to Ruth. Mary Grace have my email. You can send me an email. It's yuval@inspiredsoundinitiative.org. And if you have something else to donate, we could put it for an auction if it's an item or an object. And also, if you want to send a contribution, if you want to just send some money that it will lower your taxes, if you want to pay less taxes this year, you could just send us a donation, and that will help the world. It will help our neighborhoods. It will help reduce crime. It will help reduce violence, and it will help raise somebody from poverty to a better place. And I want to just end with one case example that will qualify what I just said about crime and violence. And this is a wonderful, inspiring, true story that really inspired me in creating Inspired Sound Initiative. And this is a story about Los Angeles. There is a professor who is running a music department in one of the universities in this city, who invited me to give lectures and workshops in the university about world music, about music of the Middle East, about whatever I do in music, to teach as a guest scholar. And he brought me several years to his class because he's a fan of my music. So I've been lecturing there once a year. He brings me to give a lecture. And one day he took me out to lunch after my lecture, and he told me an amazing story about himself. This professor, he told me that he grew up to in an immigrant family somewhere south of downtown Los Angeles. And he grew up in such neighborhood that all of his brothers, they are all in drug dealing, and some of them are in jail. They are all addicted to drugs. They are all dealers. They are all involved with crime. And some of them are still locked up in jail. These are his older brothers, and he was the younger kid. This was his future. This is all that he knew. And one day, the LA Philharmonic sent a group of 2 musicians to play music in his public school. They did what we are doing. They send artists to the schools in those neighborhoods. And those 2 musicians played cello and violin in the public school. And at the end, they said, we are giving free ticket for a concert this Saturday, and we are sending a bus. The LA Philharmonic is sending a bus to the neighborhood, and any kid who wants a free concert, just be there at 6 p.m. at the school. There's going to be a big bus coming. And my friend, this professor, this little kid, he came at 6 p.m. He told his parents that he's going to the concert at the LA Philharmonic. And he was shocked to see that at 6 p.m., there was nobody at the school waiting for the bus. He was the only kid, one kid. And the whole bus arrived. And this little kid went up on the bus and drove downtown. And he got into the concert hall. And he heard, for the first time in his life, a symphonic concert. The whole symphony. He never in his life heard a symphony. And he was so inspired that he decided to be a musician. He dedicated himself to music. And that took him out of that neighborhood. That is the reason why he's not in jail. That's why he's the head of the music department in one of the universities in this city. And I found this story very deeply moving because it shows the power of music. It shows the power of music. This is a true story of one of my friends. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm not getting paid for all this work that I'm doing with my Inspired Sound initiative. I volunteer. I take time, I find time, I carve time, and I ask people to volunteer to do this work because it's important. It's not about music and dance. It's about saving people from crime and poverty and misery. And it's not just for these people. It's for us. It's for our children, because we are affected by the crime. We are affected by the violence. If we don't do something about it, it's going to hit us. Sooner or later, it's going to hit each one of us. It's going to hit one of our children. And so it's not about helping other people. It's about helping other people in order to make the world a better place for all of us, for our children, for our neighbors, for ourselves, for our family. I just don't see any other way to do it. And I know that I'm not fixing Los Angeles. I'm not fixing Denver, where we work. And we work in the Bronx, in New York. We work all over the country. We work in Boston in homeless shelters. We went all the way to Armenia and India, to schools that have no facilities, and schools where the parents don't want their children to come to school. And the way the schools get the children to school is by providing food, free food, and only then, 3 meals a day, and only then the parents let the children go to school in that neighborhood in India where we were. And so we work internationally. We work all over the country. We work mainly in Los Angeles because we are based here. And it's a little drop in the whole ocean. But the question is it better to do this little work, this little effort, and to make an effort? Maybe that's what I'm telling all my artists and all my colleagues. I tell them, if we end up getting one kid out of that future, one kid, all this work is worth it. And I'm telling them the story about my friend, that professor of ethnomusicology. He's one kid that was saved by one educational effort of the Los Angeles Philharmonic. So if we can save one child, if we can turn one child in a different direction because we inspire and empower them with music and dance, then the whole work is worth it. So I appreciate you. I appreciate the time that you gave me. I really appreciate Ruth for inviting me. And if you'd like to have some questions and answer, I'll be happy to answer any question that you have. And again, if you'd like to help us, we have the website inspiredsoundinitiative.org. You can be in touch with us through that. I'm going to put it in the chat. And you can reach me through Mary Grace, of course.
I will send out an email with all of Yuval's information. And I'm also going to propose with Mastery Circle a donation from our group.
Thank you.
We do donations here and there.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. It was really very touching presentation.
Thank you.
Bonnie, maybe you want to share what you put in chat. I thought that was really interesting.
For a number of years, I did concerts in schools, and every once in a while, there was a young man, I don't recall his name, but he said that, and he was a musician at the time, a younger fellow, but he said that he had seen our show in his school, and that just made such a difference. Plus the fact my friend, Tony Garcia, for years, he was in my group that we did concerts in the schools, and he would sometimes sometimes tell the kids as well that he said it made a difference. Everybody around him was getting into trouble or drugs or gangs, and he was discovered music and has been a lifelong musician. It's really made quite a difference. It's interesting that the elementary kids, elementary school, they're really they're uninhibited and anxious to sing and dance, things like that, to participate. And then you see as they get junior high, senior high, they're more inhibited, but it really quite made a difference. And I also, way years ago, I remember saying LA Bill, I guess, or LA Opera came into our schools years ago. That and I have friends of mine that still to this day do many, many concerts, and they really, really make a difference. And wow, you've all talking about that. Wow, I'm so glad that your friend shared that. It's very powerful. It's true. It can make a huge difference. Huge difference. Yeah. And I look forward to your workshop in October.
Yes, very much so. Yeah, in October, I'm doing a retreat in Sky Oak Ranch about sound and the brain. It's going to be a great 3 days of exploration. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to share that with you, Bonnie and Mary Grace.
And
so
Lisa.
I see lots of hands up. Maybe is there a facilitator that can choose who's going first or next?
Eugenia, you want to do that?
Sure. I see two hands. I see Diana and Patricia. I don't see others. And Diana's first, I think.
Yeah, I don't know when I've been so deeply touched, because it was just so moving to see the effect. And I know that effect because music means everything to me. I have it playing almost all day long. There are so many people who have so much to offer in this group as far as their talent, but perhaps it's a little bit like water to the fish. We don't quite see what it is exactly that we have to offer, but I would suggest that we set up Zoom meetings with you, Yuval, so that we could talk to you and present, who we are, and you might be able to help guide us in choosing what we could donate as far as our time goes, because it just feels like such an amazing and worthy project.
Yes, wonderful. Yeah, and you meet really interesting people, because you think, who would care about my background as a I don't know, a consultant to the LA Opera? But I did work, let's say, for 10 years as a consultant for the LA Opera, and suddenly somebody really wants to talk to you, and that person will be a very interesting person who is interested in that thing that you did, and it benefits the children. It would benefit the communities. So it's so easy. And now, it can be in person, it can be in Zoom. Last month, we had a contractor, a real estate developer from Staten Island who built half of Staten Island. And he's an old school guy. And I told him it's 60 minutes on Zoom. And he tells me, I'm not so good in Zoom. I'm good in person. That's how I do my business for 40 years. I want to do it in person. I told him, that's fine. It's any way you want. You decide when and where. So it was only in person. So if somebody wants to meet with him, they can meet with him in New York City in a cafe, and they're going to have 60 minutes of this time, of this real estate developer who built half of Staten Island. But he will not meet on Zoom. That's how he wants it. And some people want to meet only in Zoom, and some people want to meet in France, and some people want to meet in Portugal. It's amazing how there are people all over the world who are interested in those items, and they would. I'll give you an example. We have a retired city planner of a city of, I think it's a city in France, I think Toulouse. So the retired city planner, his daughter donated 60 minutes walk with him in the city of Toulouse. And somebody bought it, and they were planning on a trip to France, and they got an exclusive walk through the city with somebody who planned it. We have museums in Israel donated a VIP walk. There are tourists that went to Israel and they bought it. A tourist from North Carolina who bought a ticket to go to Israel to see the sacred places, and they got this, VIP walk through a museum in Tel Aviv, and that's what they wanted, and they got it. So it's beyond what anybody can even imagine. So anything that is special or unique or particular can be sold as an item. So, Ruth and I can help you figure out what you could offer, but it has to do with something that you know about and something that you've done professionally.
Those are wonderful examples. And this is a great group. So I just want to remind y'all, we have about a little over 5 minutes left. So Patricia, please share your question or comment.
I wanted to tell you your story was so touching. I was crying. I admire your work, and I can see the difference it makes. I worked as a therapist for a nonprofit agency, giving therapy to these kids in the marginalized population. So mainly downtown LA, Compton, Watts.
Yeah.
And I went to their schools or their homes. So I could feel what their lives were about.
Yeah.
And so that was my little contribution
Thank
to help
you.
them be more functioning after all the trauma they went through. It's an amazing amount of trauma they go through.
Right.
But the power of music and dance, and the fact that you make them feel seen and heard, that's amazing. So thank you for doing it.
Yeah, thank you, Patricia. Hopefully we can connect, maybe collaborate with some of the schools that you work in. Maybe
I used to, but
you used to, I see.
But I could connect you.
But you may know some of the people still.
Yes,
So
that's a good idea. I have another question.
Yes.
For fundraising, what about you giving a concert for the wealthy people? So with that money, you help.
Yes, we've done several of those. Yeah, we've done some fundraising concerts in the past before the pandemic. So we do that, and I donate a visit to my studio, and I've done it several times. And also I donate VIP tickets to my concerts, so people get an autograph book of mine, an autograph CD, and they get a visit to the green room before the concert, and then they see the concert. So we even item during the holidays, I donated a private Hanukkah concert for anybody who pay to bring my ensemble to give them a Hanukkah concert in their home privately to their family and friends, and somebody bought that, you know. So we do all kinds of different things to raise funds, because you know nobody gives us the funds, and we have to gift it for free to the people. We can't charge it. We have to offer it for free. So we work all the time on different ideas to raise funds. I'll tell you another funny example. There was a professor from a university in Florida who bought an item to have a dinner with me and to consult with me about a musical that he was writing. And he's a professor of economics, but he's in his free time, he's writing a musical, and he wanted to consult with me about his musical. So he came for dinner from Florida, and we had dinner, and then he played me his stuff, and I gave him advice, you know. So we do that. Yeah. Let's go to two more people who are raising their.
Yes. Can we please hear from Mac, who is in Africa?
Yes, this is not a question, but a reaction. There are two things you said that touched me greatly, especially because I'm someone who is also working with young people and trying to get them out of crime. You said we are not just helping the children, the young people. I paraphrase your words. You say we are helping ourselves, because if these kids, you know, they get into crime, they can hurt anybody, they can harm anyone. It could be us, it could be someone related to us. And that is so very true. The second thing you said that touched me so much is, if we end up getting just one kid out of, you know, some bad life, then it is worth the work. It is worth the effort. Thank you so much for those very touching words, and you have greatly inspired me, Yuval.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And Paul Walker, please share.
Yeah, I've been a leadership consultant for 30 years. And what really struck me is when people get into music or listen to music, you don't engage their beliefs. And once you engage somebody's beliefs, whether they're negative or positive, you kind of lose them. And so when I did my work, I always tried to not engage people's beliefs, but this music that you do, there's no beliefs in there. It's just the rhythm, the tune, the beauty. So thank you for your work. It's just fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. This is a key thing, that through music we can reach people beyond their guards and their, you know, and it's very effective. And and I'm thinking, you know, the kind of work that you did doing leadership training would be very valuable as an example, as a auction item. You know, I'm sure there's going to be somebody who would want to meet with you on Zoom for just to get advice on your field. You know, that's an example. I'm not saying you have to do that, but I'm giving everybody an example of what can be part of.
I'd be glad to do that. So
that's correct.
On the list.
Yeah, it's so easy on Zoom for 60 minutes. It's just it's so easy, and you raise hundreds, if not thousands. Sometimes there's an auction war. You know, people really want that item. So suddenly, you know, it starts at $500 and it ends with $2,500 just to meet somebody. You know, we had neuroscientists, we had publicists, we had all kinds of people. So I encourage you to reach out to Ruth and to me and Mary Grace, and it will be great to have everybody part of this effort. And it's so easy to do, to contribute to that.
Thank you, Yuval. Thank you for this amazing presentation. You and all the ways you showed us that we can volunteer, that we can help, that we can be involved in a worldwide effort to, as the title of your speech, bring health, bring freedom, bring love. It's healing. the healing, the power of music is amazing. And thank you for all you're doing and for presenting to us again.
Thank you for
We're very-
having me.
Thank
We're
you
very
so
grateful.
much. Yeah, 3 of us are going to your sound workshop in October, and I'm very excited to go there. So
Me
thank
too.
you. Thank you, Ruth, for referring you all to a wonderful morning. Thank you so much.
Yes,
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.